The curse of the deposed consort echoed in his mind, a venomous promise of hell. One moment, he was a sovereign on his throne. The next, a debased companion in another man's bed. Before him stood a younger, more ferocious version of himself, pinning him against the sovereign's bed. Hot breath ghosted against his ear as a voice, chillingly familiar, whispered with a menacing purr that the sight of his resistance only made the desire to break him stronger. He spat out the name like a curse. Adrian, you cold-blooded, monstrous fiend. Hell is the only place you'll ever belong. You will never love, and you will never be loved, not even by yourself. The consort's mad laughter and final curse had been the last thing he'd heard. Now, snapping back to the present, he stared into the face opposite him. As he struggled, a glimpse of his own slender, pale wrists sent a glacial chill through his core. This wasn't his body. Who was he then? Adrian, wearing his face, warned him not to look at him with such defiance. He mused aloud that such beautiful eyes were ashamed to gouge out. The younger sovereign's smile didn't reach his eyes, which held a glint of bloodthirsty madness. The hand that rested on his waist was searing hot, making him shudder. A surge of murderous intent rose within him. Even in this new form, the instincts from years of martial training remained. He drove a knee upward, striking Adrian squarely in the chest. The blow loosened Adrian's grip just enough. He scrambled forward, crawling on hands and knees, but a powerful hand clamped around his ankle and dragged him back. A sharp, stinging slap across his cheek followed, pain exploding behind his eyes. Adrian's voice was a low sneer as he informed him that if it weren't for some past deed of saving his life, his head would already be on the floor. He called him a wretched thing, granting him one more day of life. The violent pain sent his mind reeling back to his childhood. The other children of the citadel, looking down on his mother's humble origins, had often treated him as their plaything. He remembered being pushed into the mud, unable to move, tears and snot mixing with the grime forced into his mouth. He was like a pathetic dog, begging for mercy, only to receive more brutal treatment in return. The world swam in and out of focus, his desperate crawling now mirroring that long-ago struggle to drag his broken body back to his mother's embrace. When arms finally lifted him, he mistook the embrace for hers. Tears he couldn't control streamed down his face as he whimpered for his mother to save him. He was told his mother had long been dead. Looking up, he saw Adrian's face, and his heart turned to stone. So this was hell. He awoke to darkness. A servant, a young woman named Clara, told him he had slept for an entire day. She brought a bowl of warm broth, her expression full of pity. The memories of the previous night came rushing back, and his hand began to tremble uncontrollably. He leaned over the edge of the bed, dry heaving. Clara gently patted his back, her own tears falling. He shoved her away in a fit of rage, sending the bowl crashing to the floor. "Get out," he snarled. Even if his mother were alive, what could she do? She, like Clara, would only hold him and weep uselessly. He remembered telling her that once he became sovereign, no one would dare bully them again. She had been bedridden for years, but his words made her sit bolt upright, her face pale as she covered his mouth, whispering that such talk was treason. A deep resentment had bloomed in his chest then. Why couldn't she scheme with him to kill that dog of a ruler? As he rose from the bed, Clara quickly draped a robe over his shoulders, her tone placating, as if speaking to a child. She apologized for spilling the broth and said she would clean it up. He looked down at his own pale, powerless hands. He was no longer the ruler of millions, but the most debased companion in the residence, a man named Elias. But what did it matter? Even if this was not his world, this Adrian was still his younger self. No one knew him better, and no one knew better how to exploit him. Adrian did not appear for several days, giving him a much-needed reprieve to plot his murder. He was far better suited to being a sovereign than a companion. Yet, he knew he'd likely be cut down by the sovereign's guard before he could even get close. Lost in thought, he wandered into the sovereign's rose garden. Lady Danielle, not yet the deposed consort, stood there, her beautiful face twisted with scorn. A handmaiden beside her shouted at him for his audacity, a mere companion who dared not bow to the lady. The handmaiden stepped forward, hand raised to strike, but Clara moved in front of him, explaining with trepidation that he was unwell and could not kneel. Lady Danielle's eyes were like chips of ice. She questioned what his health had to do with her, mockingly asking if she was also to be blamed for his near drowning after falling into the lake a few days prior. Everyone around them bowed their heads in silence. Understanding dawned on him, and his face hardened. He had never cared for the squabbles of the court consorts. If one died, another could be brought in. Likewise, Adrian would not care about his life or death. His heart sank. He had to admit that Adrian was both his greatest enemy and his greatest protector. Survival had to come before sovereignty. It was just a body. He could think of it as being bitten by a mad dog. Had he not done far more disgusting things in his past life to crawl out of his own personal hell? He was not to blame, he offered, but perhaps the sovereign was. A cold smile touched his lips as he added that the sovereign's favor was a torrent, not a gentle rain, and not everyone had the constitution to withstand its downpour. That night, Adrian came. He wasn't surprised. His words would have enraged Lady Danielle, sending her running to Adrian, demanding he prove his love for her. Based on his own past behavior, he knew that the more she clung, the more irritated he would become, driving him to seek solace elsewhere. Adrian's question confirmed it. Did he know how long Lady Danielle had been in a frenzy because of one sentence? Adrian grabbed his arm, lifting him like a stray cat and tossing him onto the bed. "Come," he commanded, sitting down with a smirk. "Let's see just how well you understand men." He had to remind himself that this body was his currency, his only tool for survival. With a surge of resolve, he pressed his hands against Adrian's chest, pushed him back onto the bed, and straddled him. In his past life, he'd never had a male companion and had no idea how to proceed. Their eyes met, and he felt a hot flush of embarrassment creep up his neck. Adrian observed his seemingly innocent and flustered demeanor, stating that he didn't care if it was an act or genuine. Then, in a fluid motion, he reversed their positions. A triumphant smirk played on his lips. This new method of seduction was cliché, he admitted, but he found it quite effective. He was like a predator, sated and content, his head resting near Elias's ear. He found his resistance novel, he confessed, but his obedience also had its own unique flavor. Clara found him in the small kitchen, running over to ask what he wanted to eat so she could prepare it. Wiping flour from his face with his sleeve, he told her he was making something for the sovereign. She looked at him with an expression of pity, reminding him that the sovereign never ate anything prepared by his companions. He paused, then continued his work, saying it didn't matter, he wanted to do it. He knew Adrian was cautious and suspicious. Otherwise, he would have been poisoned 100 times over. But people were more complex than they appeared. Years ago, the deposed consort had heard he craved a commoner's sweet pastry and had learned to make it herself. A noble lady who had never touched a kitchen utensil spent days experimenting. He had feigned disdain, telling her it was a pointless endeavor for the royal chefs to handle. But she, her eyes shining with affection, had said she wanted to make it for him herself, like an ordinary wife cooking for the man she loved. He admitted to himself that he had been moved. He wasn't certain Adrian would come. To favor one companion for several days in a row was a taboo in the residence, especially a male one. So when Adrian appeared, he was taken aback. The sovereign was in a foul mood, his eyes dark with a lingering anger. He sat down without a word. Elias asked carefully what was making him so angry. Adrian just gave him a cold glance. Elias had Clara bring in the pastries, explaining that he had made them himself. Adrian stared at him, his gaze probing. He remarked that it was a thoughtful gesture. As Elias held a pastry to his lips, Adrian's mouth curved into a chilling smile as he declared he didn't like sweets. Elias's hand froze in mid-air. He changed its trajectory, putting the pastry in his own mouth instead, assuring the sovereign that it wasn't poisoned. Adrian then cupped his jaw, his voice a low drawl. Seeing how much he was enjoying it made him curious to taste it for himself. His mouth was plundered, his tongue left tingling and numb. Adrian wanted to know the reason for this sudden display of affection. Elias had prepared his lines, reciting the sort of loving confessions he'd heard from his own consorts in the past. Adrian wasn't buying it. If that were true, he should have been more welcoming on their first night. The sovereign's eyes narrowed as he demanded the truth. Elias finally admitted his motive was vengeful, a desire for retribution against Lady Danielle by making her watch the man she adored seek comfort elsewhere. Adrian's face darkened for a moment. Then he looked stunned before breaking into loud laughter. He found his vindictive nature unexpectedly endearing. Next time, he said, he should forget the pastries. He alone was enough. Elias found himself being lifted into the air, protesting as he realized that soothing Adrian's mood had once again led to his own suffering. He awoke at dawn to find Adrian still beside him. Hiding his surprise, he reminded the sovereign it was time for his morning duties. Adrian glanced at him, asking if he was that eager for him to leave. Without waiting for an answer, he sighed that he didn't want to go, that it was all so tiresome. Elias wondered aloud who dared to anger the sovereign, reminding him that he had been ready to have his head just a few days ago. Adrian shot him a look, retorting that he and the council members were not the same. Elias turned away, grinding his teeth in silent fury. How could those incompetents on the council compare to him? Even this younger Adrian should be yielding his position to him. Adrian's eyes turned cold and sharp as he asked if he dared to show him such an attitude. Elias placed a hand on his chest, feeling the strong, steady beat of his heart, thinking how perfect it would be if he held a dagger. But no, if Adrian died, he would die too. It wasn't worth it. He suppressed his dark thoughts and forced a smile, feigning a complaint that he wasn't as useful as the sovereign's ministers. A faint smile appeared on Adrian's face. He admitted he was joking, that the sight of his council filled him with rage, but the sight of Elias improved his mood. Elias suggested that the sovereign should visit him more often, for both their sakes. Adrian snorted, remarking that if only Secretary Monroe were half as considerate. Monroe? Lady Danielle's father, the head of the council? Adrian suddenly asked him a hypothetical question. If a wolf were staring at him, would he feed it meat to appease it, or would he fight to the death to kill it? At that age, he himself had wanted to annihilate the separatist factions on the border, but Monroe was a pacifist, arguing in the council that the foundation of the state was not yet stable enough for war. Appeasement had not brought peace. It had only emboldened their enemies. Elias answered without hesitation. Kill it. To feed it would only make it call its pack, and soon he would face a whole pack of them, fattened and strengthened by his own hand. Monroe would come to regret his choice, but by then it would be too late. Adrian watched him, a flicker of surprise and then admiration in his eyes. He hoped this younger version of himself could achieve what he had failed to do. That night, Adrian sent for him. Clara was ecstatic, bustling about to help him dress. This was a rare favor, she urged. He must seize the opportunity. He told her not to bother. This wasn't a favor, he was a pawn. By shunning Lady Danielle and summoning a male companion, Adrian was slapping Secretary Monroe in the face and making his stance clear. He would not yield. Upon entering the study, a bound report flew past his head. A pack of fools. Adrian raged. Year after year we manage the floods, and year after year they happen. Elias caught the report instinctively. He was about to open it, but a glance at Adrian's furrowed brow made him close it and place it respectfully back on the desk. Adrian took his hand, his anger subsiding. He explained with a smile that he had been busy but wanted to see him. Elias feigned being overwhelmed with gratitude, praising him as a diligent and benevolent ruler. Adrian scoffed at the title. Did he know what the officials called him in private? Elias met his gaze calmly. Autocratic, brutal, extravagant, and depraved. Adrian's face instantly frosted over, his grip tightening until it felt like his bones would shatter. Elias endured the pain and smiled. Without his autocratic decision to go to war, the Queen Mother would still be a captive of the rebels, and the nation's honor would be in tatters. A new ruler must use force to suppress dissent. In the mouths of politicians, that became brutality. The palace budget had been slashed repeatedly. How could that be seen as extravagance? Unless, he added, biting his lip before uttering the final words, it was because of one extra, male companion. A slow smile spread across Adrian's face. His words had struck a chord. He confessed his plan to attack the rebels, the wolves he had mentioned before. Elias said nothing. Adrian laughed, noting his perceptiveness, comparing his cunning to that of a famous consort from a past dynasty who had usurped the throne. He leaned in, his fingers tracing the line of Elias's throat. The pressure increased, his eyes turning cold as he whispered that he was beginning to wonder if he was truly the Elias he thought he knew. The weather grew colder. Clara fretted over the small pile of charcoal they'd been given, complaining it wasn't nearly enough. A junior aide sneered that Lady Danielle had decreed the entire residence must follow the sovereign's example of frugality. It was one thing to hear of other consorts having their supplies curtailed by Danielle, but now that it was happening to him, he felt a flicker of annoyance. Seeing the dark look on his face, the aide paled and scurried away. Clara clutched her chest, remarking with a nervous breath that, for a moment, his angry expression had looked just like the sovereign's. She watched him, hesitating before saying that Adrian hadn't visited in nearly 2 months, wondering if it was because of that last summons. He reassured her not to worry. He wasn't concerned about being neglected. The fact that Adrian had voiced his suspicions directly meant he was still willing to trust him. He just needed to wait for the investigation to confirm his identity was clean. If there truly were a usurper in the residence, Adrian's nature would be to control and then use them. Clara brought him a heavy cloak, clucking over how much weight he'd lost recently, how he was always tired and had no appetite. She started to say something else, then stopped. He pressed her. Clara hesitated, then shook her head, suggesting it would be best to have a physician see him. The physician's face was grave as he forced a smile. "My lord," he began, "you are with child." Elias stared blankly at Clara. They were both stunned. She recovered first, her face breaking into an excited grin as she congratulated him on carrying the sovereign's heir. He slammed his fist on the table, roaring at her to be silent, that it was nonsense, that he was a man. The two of them exchanged confused glances. After a long moment, Clara spoke timidly, asking if he had forgotten. The reason the sovereign brought him to the residence was because of his unique constitution. Fragmented memories surfaced. Adrian, looking at him like a rare curiosity, a strange beast, a playful smile on his lips. Bring him into the residence. I want to see if he can truly bear a child. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He not only had to submit to Adrian in bed, but he was also a childbearing freak for his amusement. He looked down at his stomach, his temples throbbing, his hands shaking uncontrollably. Right now, more than Adrian, he wanted to kill the abomination growing inside him. Clara helped him sit down, smiling at the physician and explaining that he was just overwhelmed by the happy news. The physician nodded awkwardly, not daring to meet his eyes as he advised that the pregnancy was fragile and that he must abstain from intercourse. An idea sparked in Elias's mind. When he looked up again, his face was calm. He instructed them not to tell the sovereign yet. He wanted to deliver the surprise himself. He pressed a heavy purse of silver into the physician's hand, his voice a dead whisper, telling the man his future depended on him. He sat alone in his room all night. The hell the deposed consort had spoken of was slowly taking shape. He had spent more than a decade carving a bloody path to the throne, only to be cast down from the heavens in a single night, his dignity shattered. He thought that was the bottom, but things could always get worse. Since the dawn of time, women bore children. A man giving birth was a grotesque, insane joke. Adrian was the puppeteer, the silent observer enjoying the show. He clenched his fists, suppressing a wave of fury. After a long time, he looked at Clara and forced out a single sentence. Tell the sovereign he was ill and to please come. When Adrian arrived, Clara's face lit up. She began to speak, but he silenced her with a look. Adrian, not noticing, asked what was wrong. Elias pointed to his chest. My heart aches. Adrian rubbed the spot gently, asking if the physician had seen him and what he'd said. He said it's lovesickness, Elias murmured, his lips curving as his hand reached for Adrian's belt. Adrian seized his wrist. Elias's heart leaped into his throat, thinking he knew. But Adrian simply sighed, his gaze softening. He too had missed him. You are my Elias, he whispered, a confirmation that his identity was secure. He leaned in, his voice a low promise of a gentle night to reward his rare display of submission. The physicians echoed in his head. No intercourse, it would harm the child. He bit down on Adrian's knuckles, a wild, manic light in his eyes. Don't be gentle with me, my sovereign, he purred. The rougher, the better. I like it that way. A searing pain ripped through his lower abdomen, and cold sweat beaded on his forehead. The world went black at the edges. Fighting through the agony, he reached a hand beneath himself. A wave of satisfaction washed over him as his fingers came away wet and sticky with blood. The last thing he heard was Adrian's panicked shout for the physician. He woke to the sight of the physician and Clara kneeling outside, trembling. Adrian was incandescent with rage. How dare they conspire to hide such a thing from him? He ordered them dragged out and executed. Ignoring the pain, Elias scrambled from the bed. My sovereign, have mercy. Spare them. Adrian turned, his face a mask of fury. A mere servant, and you plead for her? Clara has been like a mother to me. I cannot bear to, you cannot bear it for a servant. Adrian cut him off, his voice trembling with rage. But you could be ruthless enough to murder my child. Elias, how can you be so vicious, So cruel. The accumulated humiliations of his new life flooded his senses. Pain made him reckless. How can you speak of cruelty? I could never compare to you. The worst I have done is kill an unborn child. You killed the previous sovereign. Your own father. Adrian's face contorted. He lunged, his hands closing around Elias's throat. Those are rumors. Lies, he snarled. Elias struggled wildly, his only thought to expose the darkness in Adrian's heart. What right did a man like this have to demand his submission? What right did he have to be a father? If he was in hell, why should Adrian get to watch from the sidelines? You know if they're rumors or not. You claimed he was killed by the rebels. You lied to everyone. You had a chance to save him, but you didn't. His words hit their mark. Adrian's eyes bulged with fury, his fingers tightening, cutting off all sound. Elias's hands, which had been clawing at his arms, fell limp at his sides. He opened his eyes to the ceiling, disoriented. Clara's voice informed him that the sovereign had banished him to the north wing. He wasn't dead. His throat felt like it was filled with razors. Seeing her pale face, he asked if she had been punished. She shook her head quickly, but her eyes were red-rimmed. His voice came out as a raw croak. Clara, tell me, what happened? She choked back a sob. The sovereign hadn't punished her further, she said, but he had executed the physician. Clara was kind-hearted. Such a reaction was expected. He felt a secret relief. As long as you're safe, he rasped. Her tears fell freely then. He was my brother, she whispered. When you fell in the water, and Lady Danielle forbade anyone from attending to you, it was he who saved you. She wiped her eyes, her gaze now holding a sliver of resentment, as if looking at someone heartless. I should thank you, my lord, for begging the sovereign to spare my worthless life. Otherwise, who would have been left to claim his body? The words struck him like a physical blow. His mother, who had loved him, died for him. The physician who had helped him died because of him. He clutched the sheets, a sudden wave of weakness overcoming him. He always hurt those who were good to him, yet he condemned others for their lack of sincerity. The deposed consort was right. He didn't know how to love, and he didn't deserve to be loved. Life in the North Wing was harsh. He and Clara survived on their own. With Danielle setting the precedent, the other consorts were happy to kick them while they were down. Clara was bullied by the other servants, assigned the heaviest chores. When he tried to help, she wouldn't even look at him, telling him to rest. Since he'd woken up, she rarely smiled. She worked in silence, avoiding his gaze. He knew how good she had been to him, treating him as her master regardless of his status, rejoicing whenever Adrian visited, because it meant he would be safe from Danielle's torments. Now her eyes were distant and cold. He had never cared what others thought of him, but this hurt. I know you hate me, he said one day. Clara started, forcing a smile. She could understand his actions, she claimed. She just needed time. He took her chapped, freezing hands in his. I will get you out of here. Clara, find me paper, a pen, and a small knife. As he held the knife poised over his wrist, Clara rushed in and snatched it away, pleading with him to wait, that the sovereign's anger would pass. Adrian cared for him. Any other consort would have been long dead. He was surprised. He only wanted to write scriptures. She eyed him suspiciously. Why did he need a knife for that? He explained his intention to write them in his own blood, as an offering to the Queen Mother. After his own mother's death, the childless Lady Catherine had become his adoptive mother, and later the Queen Mother. When he ascended the throne, he had wanted to repay her for raising him, but she wanted nothing, retreating into a life of prayer. She said she needed to atone. When he asked for what sin, she had only looked at him in silence. The scriptures eventually reached her. He regarded her as his mother. He would do anything she asked. He knew Adrian felt the same. The Queen Mother wishes to see you. He stumbled as he tried to bow to Adrian. After a long pause, he was told to rise. He'd been kneeling on the cold floor for so long that his legs were numb. He swayed, nearly falling, but Adrian's arm shot out, steadying him. His own limbs were freezing, and he instinctively leaned into the sovereign's warmth. Adrian stiffened, but the hand that had meant to push him away slowly tightened its grip instead. "Why are you like a block of ice?" he murmured. Nestled in his embrace, Elias felt a strange sense of security. "Do you know you were wrong?" Adrian asked. His throat was still raw, so he could only nod. This rare show of weakness did not satisfy Adrian, who launched into a tirade, questioning his sincerity. Flashes of his past, the childhood bullying, Adrian's initial cruelty, raced through his mind. "My sovereign," he asked, his voice a hoarse whisper, "what did I do wrong?" Adrian's face darkened. "You murdered my unborn child. You ask what you did wrong?" A yo-yo shall ye touched Elias's lips. Did the sovereign truly want that child? Would he have allowed a monster like him to continue the royal bloodline? Could he have protected him until the birth? His voice was a broken, desperate cry. "I would have died faster with a child. I want to live, and even if I had given birth, I couldn't have protected it. Why should I have brought it into this world? Who would dare harm you?" Adrian roared. "Who would dare harm my child?" "You know who," Elias said softly. "You just pretend you don't." He knew himself too well, knew Adrian too well, and knew Danielle too well. After the deposed consort had miscarried, an accident he had arranged with the physicians because she was unworthy, she had lost the ability to conceive. She who had gloated over the demise of others' children now wailed and mourned her own fate. A mother who could not even protect her own child was unworthy of the title. He had told her that himself, and she had wilted like a dethorned rose. Adrian's face shifted through shades of red and black. He turned to leave, declaring that Elias could rot in the north wing for the rest of his life. Elias threw himself forward, grabbing his arm, pulling at his belt, drawing Adrian's hand inside his robes like a desperate courtesan trying to keep a client. As long as the sovereign visited him every day, he murmured, the north wing would be fine. Adrian laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. How could he expect daily visits when he started an argument every time they met? Elias repeated that he was wrong, again and again, clinging to him like a lifeline. A metallic taste filled his mouth, and he coughed up a few specks of blood. Adrian roughly wiped them away. "I must be bewitched by you," he growled, his voice thick with frustration. "Why can't I bear the thought of you dying?" The force of his grip brought tears to Elias's eyes. The anger in Adrian's gaze slowly transformed into a smoldering heat. He brushed away a tear from the corner of Elias's eye. "What are you crying for? Save it for later." He accompanied Adrian to see the Queen Mother. She was dressed in simple robes, her voice cool and distant as she asked after the sovereign's health. Adrian shed his usual ferocity, becoming as docile as a child. He was accustomed to her coldness, smiling as he answered her. Their conversation was dull and repetitive, yet Adrian seemed to cherish it. When he tried to say more, she cut him off, reminding him of his duties. Her gaze softened when it fell upon Elias. She felt an instant kinship with the young man, she said, and asked that he stay to keep her company. Elias glanced at Adrian. The sovereign stood motionless in a vast shadow, his expression unreadable as he watched them leave. Elias's own schadenfreude morphed into a shared sense of pity. Like him, Adrian was desperately trying to prove his worth, hoping to earn a sliver of maternal love. He had only learned years later that the Queen Mother had never loved him. She had raised him out of duty to the former sovereign. Ahead lay the dark, solemn chapel. Behind, the rigid, orderly palace. Clouds obscured the sun, and Adrian was slowly swallowed by the darkness. A man trapped in his own gilded hell. For all his power, wasn't he just as lonely, just as desperate to be loved? The Queen Mother had spoken, and Adrian had obeyed. He and Clara were moved out of the North Wing. It gave Adrian another excuse to visit. At night, he would ask what the Queen Mother had discussed. Elias would tell him they chanted scriptures. Later, as Adrian moved against him, he would demand to hear them. Elias would recite the verses in broken gasps until Adrian, sated, would magnanimously declare that was enough for one day. They argued often, usually about matters of state. Adrian was young, idealistic, and stubborn. Elias couldn't persuade him, and watching him head toward a political pitfall, he would lose his temper, yelling that with him in charge, the nation was doomed, and perhaps he should take over. Adrian's face would turn black with fury. In response, he would push Elias onto a chair and take him right there, hissing that the burden of ruling was his to bear alone. When Elias woke, he would be back in his own rooms, Clara hesitantly relaying the sovereign's message that he would reconsider his companion's advice. His influence made him the talk of the court. When Adrian sent a list of rewards, his eyes fixed on one item, a horse. The annual sovereign's hunt was approaching. Clara explained it was a special gift. His heart pounded in his chest. In his past life, an assassin had infiltrated the hunting party. He had nearly become the shortest reigning sovereign in history and had suffered from the wound for the rest of his life. That night, he urged Adrian to increase security for the hunt. Adrian agreed absent-mindedly, then changed the subject, asking his opinion on a matter concerning the recent floods. His carefully prepared S were brushed aside. All right, I'll arrange it," Adrian said, pulling him into an embrace. The hunt began, and Elias was on edge, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. Adrian, magnificent on his horse, laughed at him, teasing that he was as skittish as a rabbit. In his periphery, a flash of silver. A thought shot through his mind like lightning. If he died. Before he could finish it, he had already thrown himself in front of Adrian. A searing pain blossomed in his chest. His body went limp, and he fell into Adrian's arms. Shouts of "Assassin! Protect the sovereign!" erupted around them. Adrian's face was bloodless, his hand trembling as he held him. Elias! Elias! He wanted to tell him to maintain his sovereign dignity, but Adrian looked so lost, like that helpless child from so long ago. A wave of tenderness washed over him. "Are you all right, my sovereign?" he whispered. "I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine," Adrian stammered, his voice breaking. Elias coughed up blood, staining Adrian's clothes. "I think I'm dying," he murmured. Adrian's eyes were red, his voice a shattered plea. "Don't say that. You won't die." He let out a desperate, animalistic howl for the physicians. A deep cold seeped into his bones. His life was fading. He had hated him, wanted to kill him, but what had he done? His vision darkened. Faces flashed before him. His loving mother, dead. The old sovereign he hated, killed. The Queen Mother he loved, gone. The consort who loved and hated him, mad. Finally, there was Adrian, walking toward him, his voice an aggrieved whisper. I am you and you are me. You hate my arrogance, my cruelty, my heartlessness. Are you not just hating yourself? To kill me is to kill yourself. Why don't you love me? He stopped, his face breaking into a triumphant smile. How could you not love me? He awoke from the dream. A head was pillowed on the arm beside him. He twitched a finger, and Adrian's eyes flew open, instantly reddening. Elias, you're awake. You're alive. He grasped his hand, kissing it reverently. You're not like the others, Elias, he whispered, lost in memory. They have families, they flatter me for titles and power. You just make me angry. But no matter how furious I was, I could never bring myself to truly harm you. Only you would give your life for me. I know your heart is true. He buried his face in Elias's palm, his shoulders shaking as warm drops fell onto his skin. A jolt like electricity shot through Elias. It was the triumphant feeling of having tamed a wild beast. Adrian rubbed his cheek against his hand, his eyes soft and devoted. Elias, rest well. Give me a son and heir. Elias's mind went blank. The deposed consort had wanted a son to secure her power and was driven mad. Now Adrian wanted a male companion, a freak of nature, to bear the future sovereign. Do you know what you are saying? He asked. Have you considered the consequences? Adrian let out a muffled laugh. Don't worry, Elias. You will be my sovereign consort. My child will be born with honor. As for the others, I will silence them if I must. Elias stared at him, utterly stunned. When one falls in love, does one become this mad? Adrian's devotion to him ignited Lady Danielle's jealousy. He had never involved himself in the affairs of his consorts, but for some reason, he decided to personally rebuke her. Danielle spoke out of turn and was confined to her quarters for months. Clara recounted the story with unconcealed glee. She spoke of his good fortune, blushing slightly as she recalled recently walking in on him being rather forward with the sovereign. Adrian visited every night just to sit and talk. After so long without intimacy, having him so close was a temptation. He knew his own body best, and with a few simple touches, he could have Adrian flushed and breathless. But Adrian would seize his hands, guarding his virtue like a maiden. What's wrong with you? Elias asked, annoyed. 1 minute he was talking about an heir, the next he wouldn't even let him touch him. This dog of a sovereign was all talk. Adrian ground his teeth. Did the physician's words mean nothing to you? You're supposed to be recovering for 3 months. Is this how you recover? Then you should leave, Elias retorted. Just looking at you makes me want to pounce. Adrian's face turned a shade of green. How can I leave looking like this? He took a few deep breaths. I'll calm down and then go. And where will you go when you're calm? Elias asked, glancing at his groin. Back to my study to review reports, Adrian snapped. And see which of my officials needs me to clean up their messes today. After he left, Clara brought a calming tonic. The Queen Mother, she said, was also very concerned for him. She had come to visit personally to reward him for saving Adrian, bringing a trove of rare medicines. She spoke gently, her gaze distant, saying how distraught Adrian would be if anything had happened to him. She took a string of prayer beads from her own wrist and placed it on his, a blessing for his safety. Hearing he had trouble sleeping, she sent the tonic, instructing him to drink it before bed. A bitter taste filled his mouth. The Queen Mother had always been well-liked by everyone from the former sovereign down to the servants. She was good to everyone, including Prince Adrian. But she would never be good to Sovereign Adrian. As she left, she told him the sovereign had been ill-tempered lately, and that he should try to comfort him. His ears burned. 3 months of celibacy had made him irritable. Of course, Adrian was the same. The tonic worked wonders. He woke late the next morning to a frantic Clara. "My lord, the Queen Mother has summoned you. There's a crisis." The pacifist faction, led by Monroe, was threatening to commit mass suicide to stop Adrian's war plans. Adrian was enraged. His aides, desperate, had summoned the Queen Mother, but for the first time, Adrian refused to listen to her, dismissing her with a few curt words. From outside the study, Elias could hear his thunderous roar. "They want to die? Fine. I'll grant them their wish." The men kneeling inside were the backbone of the pacifist movement. Killing them would throw the government into chaos. He hurried in. The gray-haired ministers continued their remonstrations even with death looming. Adrian was livid. Besides pleading for a disgraceful peace, "What are you good for?" He seethed. When he saw Elias, his anger intensified. "Who brought him here?" "I heard someone was upsetting the sovereign, so I came to beat them up," Elias announced, rummaging theatrically on Adrian's desk. He picked up a heavy paperweight. "All right, who was it?" Adrian's expression softened. He gestured with his chin toward the kneeling men. Elias lifted the paperweight as if to strike, then suddenly gasped, clutching his chest. Adrian snatched the paperweight away. "What is it?" "My chest hurts," Elias wheezed, slumping against him. He shot a look at Clara, who immediately cried out, "My lord, is it your old ailment acting up? I'll fetch the physician." Adrian, panicked, swept him into his arms. He glared at the old ministers. "Get out. I have no time for you." The old physician was sharp. He had been briefed by Clara on the way. After a thorough examination, he concluded that Elias was physically fine, simply upset by the tense atmosphere. Adrian frowned. "I was angry." "Why were you angry?" "If the sovereign is not angry, then I am not angry," Elias replied. Adrian stared at him for a long moment, then sighed in resignation. "Fine. What I said before were just words of anger. Their heads will remain on their shoulders. I will patiently deal with those old fools." A surge of pride, like a father seeing his son finally mature, washed over Elias, and he impulsively kissed him. Adrian's voice was soft. "What do you want?" Elias's hand moved towards his belt. "All right." Adrian grabbed his hand. "I meant for your birthday gift, not that." Elias was taken aback. "I don't remember my birthday." In his past life, no one remembered it, so he had simply invented one. In this life, the original Elias had never celebrated one at all. A look of pain crossed Adrian's face. "It doesn't matter. I remember, and from now on, I will celebrate it with you every year." The celebration was elaborate and thoughtful. Even the Queen Mother made a rare appearance, sharing a few drinks with him. As she left, she gave him a meaningful smile. The evening ended with the physician lifting his 3-month ban on intimacy. He had always been a man who enjoyed pleasure. Only his initial shock at his new circumstances had made him resist. Now, watching the man beneath him, he felt a wicked sense of triumph, teasing him until his veins stood out on his neck and his breath came in ragged gasps. "Are you done playing?" Adrian growled, his eyes glowing like a starved wolf. He looked directly into his eyes, abandoning the royal we. "Say you love me." Elias leaned down and kissed him. "My sovereign, you know. I want to hear you say it. Do you love me, my sovereign?" Adrian froze, his lips tightening. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Elias smiled. "You see? You don't say it either." Adrian pulled him tighter, biting his earlobe in frustration. You know I do. Yes, Elias whispered. I know. The sovereign loves me. How could he not love Adrian? How could he not love himself? The next morning, his head was heavy and his body felt weak. He blamed it on the wine. But in the following days, even with the tonic, he suffered from insomnia and intense headaches. He grew weaker, finding it difficult to walk. The physician could find nothing wrong, prescribing only mild supplements. One night, he woke with the taste of blood in his mouth. Clara, terrified, wanted to summon Adrian, but Elias stopped her. The sovereign was busy. Adrian was pushing for war, drowning in the protests of the pacifist faction. He was overwhelmed. Elias drifted in and out of consciousness. He remembered that the original Elias had died of illness in his 3rd year at the residence. Clara, how long have I been here? This is the 3rd year, my lord. He nodded calmly. Some things were written in fate. Adrian would face an assassin at the hunt. Elias would die in his 3rd year. Adrian finally learned of his illness. Elias, he said, his voice thick with worry, you slept for so long. You're finally awake. He summoned every physician in the state, his voice cracking. If you can't cure him, you will all thinking of Clara's brother, Elias cut in. You don't need to be buried with me. Adrian looked at him with a flash of anger and grief. He knew what he was thinking. When his own mother died, he hadn't cried. He had been angry that she broke her promise and left him. Under immense pressure, the physicians came to a conclusion. He wasn't sick, he was poisoned. The poison was strange, one of them stammered. Its antidote could only be obtained from the poisoner. Adrian hurled a teacup against a pillar. The staff fell to their knees. His voice was a deadly whisper. Investigate. The residence was turned upside down. Elias was mostly unconscious. Sometimes he would wake to find Adrian there, a silent sentinel by his bed, only coming to life when their eyes met. He would urge him to sleep, but Adrian, his face etched with exhaustion, would refuse, wanting to spend every possible moment with him. Eventually, he would succumb to sleep. Elias would rest his head on his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heart, a sound he would not hear for much longer. In a half-dream, he saw Adrian confronting the Queen Mother, his voice strained. Give me the antidote. Her reply was placid. There is none. The veins in Adrian's neck pulsed. Give me the antidote. I'm doing this for your own good, my sovereign, she said calmly. A male companion is a novelty. To make him your consort? The world would laugh. It would be a stain on your legacy. For a long moment, Adrian was silent. Then his shoulders slumped in defeat. I will listen to the Queen Mother. I will choose a new consort. She patted his hand. The sovereign is wise. The antidote? I told you, there is none. Adrian slammed his fist on the table. I did as you asked. Why won't you spare him? I truly am fond of the young man, she said, her fingers stroking her prayer beads. I did not want to harm him. I thought you were truly cold and heartless, my sovereign. I was vexed, wondering how to make you understand the years of pain and resentment in my heart. But now, is this not the perfect opportunity? Adrian stared at her in disbelief. What are you talking about? A serene, terrifying smile touched her lips. Did you truly think I didn't know how the former sovereign died? You are the ruler of this nation. I cannot touch you, but I can make you feel the pain of losing the one you love. Give me the antidote. Adrian roared, or I have ways to make you suffer. I'm afraid you won't have the chance, my sovereign, she said, placing the beads back on her wrist. This poison has no cure. I have taken it as well. I wanted to follow him when he left all those years ago. Adrian collapsed into a chair, his face ashen. The Queen Mother's gaze found Elias. "My young friend," she said, her voice as gentle as a loving mother's, "I chose this poison specifically. Your death will not be painful." Adrian stumbled to his bedside, falling to his knees. "Elias, what do I do? Was I wrong?" Elias weakly lifted a hand to wipe a tear from Adrian's eye. "It's not your fault. He was wrong. I was wrong. It's all right. I was wrong, but you still have a chance. You can be a better man than I was. A better sovereign." He felt a small surge of strength in the following days and had Clara bring him paper and pen. When Adrian arrived, he handed him a stack of papers. "What is this?" Adrian asked, looking at the lists of dates, names, and places. "Before I explain, I have to tell you something. I am not Elias." He looked at him solemnly. "I am Adrian. I am you. 10 years from now." Adrian forced a laugh. "Elias, are you trying to make me smile? I'm dying." "You will not die," Adrian interrupted fiercely. "I have to celebrate your birthday with you every year. We have to have our son, and watch him grow, and see him rule this nation into prosperity." He saw the look on Elias's face and softened his tone. "Don't say such things. You've been getting better, haven't you? You can talk and write again. Soon you'll be well." They both pretended not to see the hidden handkerchief stained with his blood. Clara had told him earlier that the Queen Mother had fallen into a deep coma. "Do you believe me?" Elias asked. Adrian was silent. "Let me tell you about my childhood," Elias said. "Oh, that is your childhood." He talked for hours, an endless stream of advice and memories. "So that's how you knew about the assassin?" Adrian whispered, his hand trembling as he clutched the papers. "What is this? Your last will?" His expression was a bizarre mix of tears and laughter. "The one person who wasn't afraid of me, who understood me, accepted me, loved me, it was me all along. I found you, only to lose you again?" A low sob escaped him, a sound that twisted around Elias's heart. He wanted to say, "Don't cry. I love you," but he was already gone. "When I climbed out from the pile of corpses, I thought, Providence is kind. Elias is dead, but Lucius lives." Someone slapped my back. "Lucius, you lucky bastard. Cheating death has made you sharp. From a common soldier all the way up to the High Marshal's right hand. Maybe the sovereign will make you a general when we get back to the capital." Another soldier nudged me. "Look at him grin. Can't wait to get back to your wife? Eh? To turn down the High Marshal's own daughter. She must be a real beauty. You'll have to let us meet her sometime." The men laughed and joked. I smiled but said nothing. After 3 years of fighting, the borderland rebels had finally surrendered. Tomorrow we would return to the capital. You may all rise. The sovereign's voice, just a few words, made me tremble. I fought to control myself. Someone nudged me. "Lucius, the sovereign is addressing you." I looked up, barely daring to believe my eyes. There were streaks of silver in Adrian's hair. A sharp pain lanced through my chest. What had these 3 years done to him? A deep melancholy clung to him. "Lucius," he said, "what reward do you desire?" A comrade kicked my ankle discreetly. I bowed my head. "This general desires only to serve the sovereign. To be in your presence is reward enough." I had fought on the battlefield to defend the nation, to fulfill my own dream, and his. Most importantly, it was my only chance to see him again. Adrian gave a small laugh. "The nation's finest hero. Cannot be stingy. Think on it and tell me your wish." At the banquet that night, I pretended to watch the dancers while my eyes kept straying to Adrian. I could easily lift him now. The things Elias couldn't do, Lucius could. On the dais, Adrian seemed captivated by a beautiful dancer. A sullen mood fell over me, and I drank cup after cup of wine. Through a drunken haze, I thought I saw him smile at me. It was a smile stripped of all its thorns, impossibly soft. It held nostalgia, sorrow, and joy, an arrow that struck me right in the heart. To get drunk at a sovereign's banquet and have to be carried out. Lucius, you've really outdone yourself. The High Marshal, who treated me like a son, was twisting my ear. I didn't resist, my mind replaying Adrian's smile. It must have been a drunken dream. That evening, a messenger came from the residence. The sovereign wished to see me. The High Marshal waved me off. Go on and pray for your own fortune. A young attendant led me to a woman she called Mistress Clara. Mistress Clara is in charge of the sovereign's daily affairs. She will take you to him. The attendant then whispered, the sovereign is a good man. Just don't mention that one. Which one? She looked nervously over my shoulder. Mistress Clara. I turned. It was Clara. She gave the attendant a look, and the girl scurried away. General, Clara said, her voice low, when you enter the study, you will see a painting. Do not ask about it. Ignore it completely. She sighed. The anniversary of his death is approaching. Mentioning it will only bring the sovereign sorrow. My throat was dry. Has the sovereign been well these past few years? Clara looked at me for a long moment, her expression strange. From the bottom of my heart, I believe he has not. The sovereign is not yet old, but his hair is already graying. It's likely the work of shamanism. I looked at her, confused. A shaman claimed he could communicate with the dead. She explained with disdain. To let the sovereign see the young lord again. He was a fraud. Others heard of this and tried to pass off impostors, hoping to win favor. It earned them the sovereign's wrath, and they lost their lives for it. She gave me a long, meaningful look. General, don't you think those people deserve to die? My heart hammered. I decided to reveal myself slowly when the time was right. We reached the study door. I shouldn't have told you those things, Clara said softly, but for some reason, seeing you feels familiar. The sovereign is inside. My heart pounded as I entered. Clara's was fresh in my mind, but I couldn't stop my eyes from going to the painting. It showed a man in white robes, his back to the viewer, standing on a mountaintop gazing at the moon, looking like an immortal about to depart the mortal world. Adrian noticed my gaze. It's the best painting I've ever done. The years since he left feel like a lifetime. It's been so long, I can hardly remember his face. All I could paint was his back. A sharp pain pierced my chest. I couldn't speak. I asked you here tonight for personal reasons, Adrian said with a faint smile. I just wanted someone to talk to. He led me to a balcony and had wine brought. He asked about the Borderlands, then about my personal life. He'd heard the High Marshal wanted to offer me his daughter's hand. I quickly interjected that I was unworthy of her, and that my heart already belonged to someone else. Oh, he said, a drunken smile playing on his lips. And what sort of person is this beloved of yours? I lowered my eyes. What he is like doesn't matter. I love him. That is enough. He smiled, but there was a flicker of anger in his eyes. Enough to give up a brilliant future? I met his gaze steadily. For him, I would give my life. Adrian's hand paused, his grip on his wine cup turning his knuckles white. His smile was strained. He looked away, downing his wine. When the pot was empty, he reached for another, but I stopped him. His eyes turned icy. What right do you have to stop me? He snapped. I remembered my place and bowed my head in apology. After a moment, his voice came out hoarse and distant. I was about to leave when there was a thud. Adrian had slumped onto the table, his eyes closed. My sovereign? I waited, but there was no response. I cautiously approached. A cool autumn breeze stirred his hair, revealing the silver threads within. My heart ached. I leaned down, my breath mingling with his. I smelled a faint, familiar scent in his hair. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my collar. I started, meeting Adrian's dark, sober eyes. A storm was raging in their depths. General, what were you planning to do? His voice was that of a sovereign, but the hand holding me was trembling. His sleeve fell back, revealing a complex red tattoo on his arm, a pattern I recognized from shamanistic rituals on the border. Clara's words about the shaman came back to me. My heart raced. You recognized me. Why didn't you say anything? You were the one who didn't reveal yourself, he countered, his lips trembling. You didn't want to be with me. Was it because of that person you love? Why would you think I love someone else? I asked, frustrated. He looked away. You were trapped then. Your status forced your hand. I understood. So because I was a companion, I had to please you, even with my life? No, that's not what I mean, he said hastily. Elias was my consort, a caged bird with no freedom. He had only me. Lucius is my general, a soaring eagle. He is free to choose better. He looked down. After all, I was terrible to you before. When I first saw you, I told myself that this time the choice would be yours. You could reveal yourself and stay by my side, or he practically bit out the next words, or you could reject me. Whether you are Elias or Lucius or someone else entirely, I know you are you, the one I love. I sighed and pulled him into an embrace. Do you have any idea how hard it was just to see you again? But I had to, for the one I love. A soft laugh rumbled in his chest. I understand. You're saying you love me. I smiled into his shoulder. Yes, I love you. I came all this way back to you, just to stand with you. Because no one in this world understands you or loves you more than I do. We were always meant to be together.